Hi, welcome to Story Circle. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you're new, I'm so excited to have you here. My name is Celeste, and here on Story Circle, I get to read your stories. If you have a story that you want to share, check in the description on how to share your story. I'd love to read it. On this episode, we're going to continue reading stories from a series of modern-day folktale by Philadelphia author Guy A. Sims. Thanks, Guy, for your stories. Today's story focuses on a little girl who talks a whole lot. Do you know anyone like this? I know I can talk a lot. Hence is why I read stories. So, sit down. Do I have a story for you? Today, we're going to read Hildy Jawjacker from Rife Powers and Other Too Tall Tales by Guy A. Sims. Everybody knows somebody that loves to talk. Somebody who can start conversations on just about any subject and go on and on and on. In the land, there was a family of non-stop talkers, the Jawjackers. The father, Quincy Jawjacker, was a boot stomp caller. Why, he was so good at boot stomp calling that it has been said that he could get you so wrapped up in his words that you would dance with a cow if he told you to. The mother, Mincy Jawjacker, was the only singer in the church choir. She prided herself on being able to sing all the parts of any song all by herself. Even though Quincy and Mincy were amazing talkers, their daughter would take the words right out of their mouths. Hildy Jawjacker was the most talkative person that anyone had ever met, including her parents. When asked what Hildy's first words were, her parents can only reply that they couldn't recollect since so many of them came out at once. As nice as she was, Hildy has swelled many an ear in her time. Hildy's parents learned over time to control their talking. If there was a call for silence at a town meeting, Ma and Pa Jawjacker would grit their teeth and hush up. Even though this took great restraint on their part, they could do it for almost 5 minutes before they had to start talking again. Hildy, on the other hand, just could not get quiet. She tried on many occasions to hush up, but it seemed that the words would just leap from out of her mouth. Words would just fall out of her mouth between bites as she ate. Even while she slept, she could carry on a conversation with whomever she was dreaming about. For Hildy, there was never a good enough reason to be quiet. Aside from the constant chatter from the Jawjacker home, the town was a normal place. That is, until one day, when the baker's son went to draw up some water from the well. When he pulled up the bucket and looked in, he saw that the water was very dark, as if someone had poured molasses into the well. The boy ran home and told what he had seen. Of course, the baker did not believe him, marched over to the well, and cranked the bucket down into the water. The boy watched anxiously as his father drew up the bucket with what looked like molasses. Normally, the water was always kind of gray, but never like this. After seeing this, the baker told the boy to run and check some of the other wells in town while he went to get the town's mayor. The townfolk had a meeting that evening. The mayor stood up on a barrel, trying to calm down the people. "How am I going to water my crops with molasses?" one farmer shouted from the back. "It just ain't natural to feed your animals a mixture of corn, mash, and molasses," added a pig raiser. "It just ain't natural, I say." Even Mincy Jawjacker slowed her words down enough to get out her complaint. "You just can't make lemonade with molasses." After that, she went back to just talking. The mayor said that he had checked all the wells in town and found that whatever caused this took place down near the lake where their water came from. He organized a team of 3 to go to the lake and see what they could find out. they struck out on their journey the next day. The mayor and the three reached the lake by the afternoon and began to look around. The lake, just like the water in their wells, had become thick and dark like molasses. As they walked up and down the shore, they noticed something bubbling a short ways off. They moved closer and noticed what looked like a face in the molasses. They were mighty scared and started to run until the gurgling voice said, "You don't have to be afraid of me. I just wanted someone to come and offer me a contest. I ain't never been beat in anything." The face then turned into a complete man and walked out of the water. The mayor and the others were really scared now, but they figured they better accept whatever challenge the waterman had if they didn't want to drink molasses for the rest of their days. The waterman spoke. "Normally, folks like to bet what they can do. I put the challenge to you to do something I know you can't do. You folks like to eat, don't ya?" They all nodded, and like magic, a table full of all of their favorite foods appeared. "My wager to you is that I can hold my breath longer than all of you can hold out from eating that food." They looked at each other, figuring they could wait to eat for a long time, at least much longer than the waterman holding his breath. The challenge was accepted. The mayor and the three sat on the ground a few feet from the table, and the waterman took a deep breath. It seemed like hours had passed before the first man's stomach got to aching. He got up and ran to the table and commenced to eating a large pork roast. The waterman just smiled and continued to hold his breath. More hours passed, and the second and third townfolk felt weak from hunger. Eventually, they dashed to the table and commenced eating plates of fried chicken, cakes, and fruit salad. The waterman just smiled and continued to hold his breath. It wasn't long into the middle of the night that the mayor became dizzy from hunger. "Oh, I can't take it anymore," yelled the mayor as he jumped headfirst into a big bowl of rice pudding. The waterman laughed and returned to the water. The four townfolk sadly finished eating before slowly returning to the town. At the next town's meeting, it was very quiet. Even Quincy and Mincy Jawjacker spoke half as much. The people realized that they would have to get used to drinking molasses instead of water, since nobody felt that they could beat the waterman. That night, after the meeting, the Jawjackers sat by the fireplace drinking tall glasses of molasses-aid. Somewhere between all of the talking, Quincy said, "I wish there was something one of us could do." With that comment, the Jawjackers decided it was time to go to bed. While lying in bed, Hildy decided that the next day, she would strike out and try to beat the waterman. It hurt her heart to hear about the sadness that filled her town. Hildy reached the lake around noontime and saw the bubbling in the molasses. The waterman's face formed in the water. "Who's up there talking up a storm?" In between all of her talking, Hildy introduced herself and told the waterman that she was willing to try and beat him at a challenge. The waterman stepped onto the beach and looked at Hildy. "You seem to be a pretty talkative person. I bet I can hold my breath longer than you can keep quiet." Hildy thought about being quiet. It was something that she had never done before. Then she thought about the poor townspeople, especially her father, who had to drink tall glasses of molasses-aid now. Somewhere in her talking, Hildy accepted. On the count of 3, the waterman took a deep breath, and Hildy shut her mouth tight. The waterman figured that Hildy would only keep quiet for a minute or two. But after an hour, she was still silent. It was supper time when the waterman offered Hildy a plate of baked fish. Hildy nodded in gratitude and opened her mouth. The waterman's eyes popped when no words came out. The waterman then offered Hildy a tall glass of lemonade. Once again, Hildy nodded in gratitude and opened her mouth to drink. The waterman wiped his brow. Hildy was still silent. The waterman got another idea. He pulled out his fiddle and began to play a long, slow song. Hildy felt her eyes grow heavy and laid down to sleep. The waterman's smile soon faded into a frown. Even in her sleep, Hildy was silent. She didn't even snore. Several days had passed, and the challenge was still going strong. Hildy had found a nice, comfortable place to sit, and the waterman was beginning to grow dizzy. Slowly, he backed into the water until only his face was seen on the surface. It began to turn blue. In fact, the thick molasses turned into a pretty shade of blue also. Soon, the face disappeared, leaving only the clear blue water. Hildy decided it was time to go home. There were now two great mysteries in the town. Who changed the molasses back to water? And what made Hildy Jawjacker so quiet? After a while, the town folk stopped questioning these things. But to this day, the challenge is still going on. The end.
I feel like molasses aid would taste really good, but I don't think I could drink it for the rest of my life. Thanks, Guy, for that awesome story. I also want to give a huge shout out to C.E.A.S, who provided the music and our brand new intro. Thank you so much, C.E.A.S. If you liked his music, check out his SoundCloud link in the description below. Well, that's all I have for today. Join us next time as we read more of your stories here on the Story Circle. See ya!